Hello chic friends, this is Fiona Ferris from howtobechic.com, and today's blog post and podcast is all about inspiration to be slender and healthy. Last week we went away on holiday to Australia. While my previous Friday blog post was being published, which I pre-did, quite proud of myself for that, I was waking up in Adelaide after spending a day in the Barossa Valley, tasting, which for me is sniffing, wines, and getting ready to fly to Sydney, having already been in Melbourne and looking forward to the Gold Coast after Sydney. I know, it was a lot of travel to pack into 9 days. My brother works for one of the airlines, and he has me and my husband listed on his staff travel list. His free staff travel expired at the end of March, and he offered for us to use it up. So who are we to turn down such generosity? We did tons of walking, 22,000 steps on our first day. And what this madcap but fun trip showed me is that I'm fully committed to being a healthy person as I age, while still enjoying myself, of course. More travel is something that a lot of people do when they retire, so we saw plenty of retirees at airports and walking around tourist spots with maps like we were. Some were fit and trim and enjoying their vacation, and others were not. It was awful to see people who are incapacitated literally by their own unhealthiness. I'm not talking about things out of our control because stuff happens when you get older, I know that. And I also know that it's just rotten luck if you pick up a bug whilst you're away. But what we weigh or how healthy we are from lifestyle choices we make is absolutely within our control. Seeing how unpleasant travel was for some people made me recommit to keeping my good eating habits and ignoring the bad ones that sometimes tap me on the shoulder saying, "Remember the good times we used to have?" Even though I am more than happy with how I approach food and eating these days, that voice still pops up on a regular basis. It used to get the better of me often, but now I just ignore it or put it off for a few hours until my next meal, and then it goes away. And amazingly, it gets easier each time. On our Barossa Valley trip, we met a retired couple from New York City. Talking to them was honestly like stepping into a Woody Allen movie. Those accents, I just swooned. I talked to the wife quite a bit, and it was so much fun getting to know someone who was a born and bred New Yorker. They'd just visited New Zealand, and she asked me how the people who lived in remote houses in the middle of nowhere got their groceries, while I asked her how people shopped in Manhattan for groceries, a fridge. I honestly asked her that. It was quite random, just popped it in my mouth. How do you buy a fridge in New York? How do you get it up the stairs? I told her that the people in the remote houses probably shopped once or twice a month, and she said, "But what about the milk?" "Oh, they'll freeze it," I said, even though I don't actually know that, but I'm sure they will, because that's what I do if I can't, get somewhere. And she also told me that everyone delivers in New York, so that solved it for me. She and her husband were very trim and healthy, and they showed me a photo of a childhood friend of his whom they'd visited while in Australia. They hadn't seen each other for decades. What struck me about this photo, though, was that this guy could have been his father, not his classmate. They were exactly the same age, but his friend looked 20 years older. This photo was one of the things that got me to thinking about aging as well as I can, because while my New York City couple were having fun and travelling all over on their 8-week trip, their friend, the poor guy, looked like he needed a walking frame and a respirator. Please don't get me wrong, I'm totally not judging. These experiences simply highlighted choices I have made in the past. I know how unhealthy I have felt from making bad food choices and letting my sweet tooth run the show, and also when I was younger and used to party more because there were plenty of cocktails and even the odd cigarette a long time ago. It shows me there is heaps in my control. What I eat and drink, whether I smoke, if I choose to make exercise part of my daily routine. It can be hard to get enthused about being healthy because it sounds so joyless sometimes. It's all about what you have to cut out. But what about reframing it to supporting your physical body so it can support you for the decades of life still to come? It's a bit like setting up a savings account. If you don't have a goal for this account, all you can see is money being taken away from you that you can't spend right now. But if you have a compelling goal, If you can imagine yourself turning the key on your very own home, for example, it's exciting to save that money and watch it grow and look forward to the day when you can have your home. That's how I approach my health now, with more of a long-term view, instead of griping to myself that I should be able to eat potato chips every day because they taste good. That's true. I do think that sometimes. What about you? Do you find it easy to think long-term, or do you need to trick and cajole yourself like I do? There's no shame in that, whatever works, I say. I hope you have a great week, and also picture yourself as super awesome in 10, 20 and 30 years' time. Also, this is what a reader had to say about my newest book, 30 Slim Days. It was on a review on Amazon UK, so I was excited to see that, thank you. This lovely reader said, "This is the best weight loss book I've ever read, and trust me, there have been a few." Fiona seemed to get right to the heart of why we overeat and offered numerous thoughtful solutions and ways to change our way of thinking about food. I'm only halfway through it, even though I started reading it yesterday, but I'm already feeling so motivated to tackle my eating habits and weight once and for all using many of the tips in this book. You can read a sample of this book, the first few chapters, by clicking the cover image on Amazon.com to look inside. You can also receive the Kindle version at a 70% discount when you order the print copy. That way you can start reading straight away while your print copy is delivered. Thank you for joining me for the podcast this week. My name is Fiona Ferris and I am at howtobechic.com. If you have a comment on this podcast, you are more than welcome to leave a comment at howtobechic.com. I would love to hear from you. See you next time.